I'm here to talk about Android affiliate mobile marketing. What I did is I kept a pretty broad-based PowerPoint. If I just spoke on my own, I'd be done with this about 15 minutes. What I did is I basically broke it out into 3 different points, whereby I hope to get discussions. I want to get what you really want to know about as far as mobile marketing, Android, and mobile search. So like I said, at those points, I'll come around. If you have questions, definitely ask me. We can even talk about Android devices, how it's relevant, how you can make money off it. So, all right, that works. So as far as these topics, how I even broke it down further is, how's mobile's importance to affiliates? So you basically have that breakdown. If you need to find out, we've been hearing how great mobile is and how boffo and it's the cat's pajamas and you're going to make all this money, but really how it's important, how you can get that buy-in if you need to sell it off. And then I'll be talking about Android's importance to mobile and search. Then going into mobile SEO itself, and then users' behavior, utilizing that SEO so you can directly target those users on their mobile phones. Then going into advertising options and what I feel are the best avenues for affiliate marketers to go into. So first thing, again, you probably heard this from ad infinitum presentations talking about mobile. What's really interesting is that it's widely considered the 7th mass media form, with the first being print, recording, cinema, radio, TV, internet. And for the first time, this is a personal mass media advertising platform. And the fact that it's always permanently carried, it has your personal details, provides that real one-to-one marketing, which is critical for SMS as far as early mobile marketing. And it provides that accurate audience measurement, which is key, because now you actually have location as well as time and excuse me, place. Allows augmented reality, which I think is really going to be intriguing, especially in the real estate space. And the fact that with desktop, you have approximately 1 billion people using it. With mobile devices, you have at least 4 times that. And even Morgan Stanley is saying that that mobile web usage will already overtake that 1 billion desktop users. So like I was saying is, when it comes to mobile, as people have been bloviating, talking about how great it is, in the end, it's where's the beef? Where's the money? I don't know, has anyone here undergone any mobile affiliate marketing practice? Or just thinking about it? Just thinking about it? But everyone here has seen those points that I've talked about earlier, about how great it is. People here kind of feel it will be something that's worth taking, undergoing? Okay. So again, this is what I've basically been seeing as people have been talking about it, prognosticating, but there's no real meat to it to justify those efforts. And that's why I feel Android is important to not just affiliates, but internet marketing as a whole. Because the point is, why Google is doing this and essentially giving it away for free is to basically recapture that mobile web share for itself. Because with BlackBerries, they're excellent with email. I still say they're probably better than, especially with BBM, than any other platform right now. iPhone advanced smartphones to the mass audience, and especially with their ecosystem within their applications. And Google saw that. And that's why they pushed Android to basically expand that mobile web and essentially give it away for free in a modified Microsoft approach with the PC.
You have to have the breakout when you say 50% by 2011. Do you know what the breakout will be by age on that?
Actually, I'll be going over user behavior. But right now, I'll foreshadow what it's going for. Right now, the prominent audience, even for all marketing aspects within mobile, are males between 24 and 35. And they are, obviously they are leading that storm, especially in Android. And they're the ones that actually are undergoing those marketing efforts, actually showing return on that investment. And did you want to know about market share as well, or just the users? Okay, as people have been seeing, I don't know if you've seen the press releases that in approximately 2 years, Android's market share has already overtaken iOS or the iPhone, or iOS 4, the iPhone. I don't put much credence to that. It's all speculative. But I do see a parallel with the PC in that it will be taking that market share regardless, which I do believe the iPhone will be on Verizon in January. So again, why is Google doing this? And why should we care? Well, we do know that Google has a dominance in standard search, but their dominance in mobile search is even more, which is what allows them to basically give it away for free because of their long-term plans with it. So that's great for Google. How is that great for us? And so as Google parties, this was from when they just released Froyo, which was Android 2.2, which is available now in some devices and be propagating even further. Why should you care as an affiliate or marketer? What's interesting is, and what I've seen in mobile is right there in that little circle, if you can see, is that most of mobile marketing that's been effective has been SMS, which I think is a bit annoying and kind of the email marketing of the mobile space. But what's really interesting is where it's going, and what Android's really propelling that, as you see right there, that red 3/4 now is search. And that's what Google's doing with Android, and I think is important to us as marketers because that's how we can actually be effective within mobile. So how does an affiliate get ahead in mobile search? As opposed to breaking everything out, I put down little icons just to represent it. So the first thing is, of course, you need to have a site about Family Guy. But no, the point of having that picture is basically making sure your mobile site is within the family. And when I say within the family, there are mobile services now that say, we'll take your site and we will make it mobile friendly, but on their domain, kind of like a Blogspot approach or whatnot. SEO 101, you always want to keep it within your site, so you're building up your own portal. And how best to do that is right there in that magnifying glass where it says user agent. The best way to do this, to do mobile rendering, is to do user agent detection, detecting if it's an iPhone, Android prominently, as well as BlackBerry devices. And what that does is then that triggers a mobile formatted CSS. So thus you're not duplicating your page, but you're rendering it properly. Google has affirmed that this is kosher with them and is the best way for users, and that way you're not necessarily setting up a subdomain or subdirectory, but you're propagating that same exact page, but in a mobile format. And just below that is the finger touching, in that it's not just important to be mobile friendly, but especially these devices to make sure that they're finger friendly. So not just compacting your site, but making sure there's enough space so you can have true interaction and actually have selections. The next thing is up there is about speed. What Google has been doing, and what I believe, and I've talked to Cutts about this, Matt Cutts over at Google, is they are kind of slowly but surely pushing sites to become mobile friendly. And the first part of that is with speed, making it compact and quick loading. The next thing I got there is about location, which location is critical to mobile, which I'll be touching on later. And the best way to do about it is what Google is also pushing us toward is not just mobile, but more of a semantic search, which is what Web 3.0 is all about. And I'm a big believer, and it already gives you that benefit with the rich snippets in the search results, but using these microformats. And what microformats do is really delineate your code. Instead of the bots guessing when you have a number, it specifically states that that number is applicable to you or to somebody else. And that's what I really like about this, and more critically, if this does the laser, is this part right here. Because this is code that you can actually put in the back end that says exactly where your location is, which is critical, I feel, for mobile. And because right now, the mobile algorithm is essentially the same as a desktop. Google is really trying to prevent having a separate mobile index separate from their main. They have a delineation, but they want to keep it essentially the same. So with that being understood is making sure that you have your location specified and that you have all your mobile pieces in play. And let me see. Yeah, those are the main parts. Does anyone have any questions with mobile? So these are the basics of mobile search right here. Make sure that you're actually in the index or the delineated index and that you appear.
Location
Yes?
of the user? Or?
What you want to do is the location of the business itself or what the website is targeting. Yep.
If you're saying that they're keeping the same index, if you introduce another variable, namely the location, into the search, then how is that, how can they account for that? Do you know how they can, if I'm saying I'm looking for food stores, and then, on my PC, doesn't know where I'm located, I mean, it has some general idea.
Yeah, I mean, it has some general idea from personalization. Right. As you know, with Android phones and iPhones as well, even that it's directly personalized in that direct interaction with your GPS. So that GPS knows where you essentially are.
Right now, right.
And then that's why you have implied results, which kind of foreshadows what I was going to talk to you about later. But like if you're with your phone, you type in pizza, you don't have to say pizza San Diego. It just automatically parses that in. Is there anything else? Okay. Sure, Keith?
Actually, with rich snippets, where do you see it in terms of adoption now? How essential is it just in general with the mobile web, or is it still being refined?
It's still being refined. The head person at Google that really propagates this is Miley Oye. She's part of the Webmaster Central team. And what they're doing right now is they're taking large sites that's very direct what it's about within their micro formats, or how they reference their site as far as categorizations and applying those rich snippets. But what they're doing now is it's kind of hidden within Webmaster Tools, but there is a way to directly submit your site to get that rich snippet inclusion. And especially if you're using these micro formats, you have a higher chance of getting in. And if anyone wants to know, if anyone can't find this, because it's really bizarre that it's kind of hidden underneath, let me know and I can tell you exactly how to access it. Because even on standard search, even though it's going off tangent, on standard search, that micro formats really help out your click-throughs, and I've seen this across the board. Another thing I'd actually gloss over is HTML5. Are people aware of HTML5? What its point is? Anyone? No. Well, HTML5 is the next evolution of HTML as we know it, in the sense that video, it really goes to the semantic version of HTML, whereby you don't need plugins such as Flash to render video. It's implicit within the code how to run video and sound, which is what Apple's pushing, as well as Google, kind of sidestepping Adobe. So that's also going to be a big part of getting yourself into the mobile index. Because along with that, actually one of the main things that Google does or will be doing for mobile search, I didn't include here, I was amiss in not putting it, but they are checking your doc type. So making sure you actually, when you do your rendering within CSS, make sure you're declaring a mobile doc type. Google has actually specifically stated that could de-include you as far as mobile search itself. So anything else with search? Are people looking into creating their own portals for mobile? Is that what you're mostly looking into, or creating applications? I just want to make sure I'm hitting on things that you guys are interested in.
Bit of both.
Bit of both?
So in terms of, just out of curiosity, so then in terms of mobile portals, where do you see that as fitting into this mobile search equation? So like, let's say mobile coupons and mobile search.
That would be huge.
What's your opinion on that now?
Well, that kind of foreshadows later on, but mobile coupons is huge. But if you're going to do anything in mobile, the first thing I would do, as far as cost effectiveness and always as your foundation base, is have a mobile rendering site. Even if you go into applications, go into the other mobile marketing fields, always make sure your base is set up for mobile. Because a lot of even the interactions with applications, they generally pull you back to your site as far as some other procedures. Even Facebook still does that. So that's why it's critical.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
I'm not a programmer, but I have a basic WordPress site,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to mipid.com, and it's helping me render my site on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you suggest that we use, third-party tools to help us become mobile ready? Or should we look for, to
The best way in WordPress, the best plugin in my experience, and I've done this on several sites across the board, and it's the most SEO-friendly way, and it's free, is WP Touch. Does anyone else use that? Because I know some people have had problems. I've never had issues. And the way it renders mobile is exactly the way you should be doing it, in the most SEO-friendly way. And it's basically one and done. No. So now that, if I addressed everyone's questions on as far as mobile search itself, is knowing what the user behavior is, especially on mobile devices. So that way you can capture the right people. What I think was really interesting in that is Opera had a recent study that found out, and it makes sense, that most people are using mobile web between 8 p.m. and midnight. So I think that's really good as far as like any timing of your campaigns, like especially if you're doing PPC or any time that time is a factor. That seems to be the peak of when people are using their mobile device. And then doing this side by side as far as desktop and mobile, what I thought was really interesting is this right here. As far as percentage of search, it's almost twice as much on mobile, which kind of goes against Steve Jobs' proclamation that people aren't searching on mobile devices. And as I was shown earlier, that is the case more so in the iPhone, but that's not so much the case with Android's propagations. And it's really interesting in that in large part why Android phones have the much larger screens, because it allows more of that use of the browser, so the browser becomes more practical in use. And and this is kind of a side thing, but it's kind of speculated. Anyone know what this other could represent on the desktop, especially? There was some, yeah. All right. That's what people are speculating what this other is, basically. That's right. That's purely speculation, but it seems to kind of fit. And then I mean, if you are marketing on a mobile device, not just knowing how to get into the mobile search and what people are doing is what their purchasing behavior is. And as I was talking about earlier, is right now all the marketing results, as far as mobile, is really being led by men between 24 and 35. And when it comes to these devices and becomes to purchasing behavior, when people are going on the browser, they're not searching, they're not looking for information, they are finding. They want to know something immediately, and that's within their local perimeter. And that's why mobile shopping and coupon use is being led by these people, because men don't want to have the George Costanza wall. They want to have everything on their phone as far as coupons, best deals, and that's what I really feel is next, as I'll go into later as far as affiliate programs, is mobile coupon use. That's been actually used quite a bit, quite well in Europe and Asia. And it's already starting to come up here, especially the integration within Foursquare. Yes?
Of the women that do use mobile phones, do you know roughly how it breaks out between like Android and iPhone and all these different places? Like if I was going to try to reach women who are on mobile, how would I reach?
There is a much higher percentage of them using iOS, iPhone for right now, yes. And what's interesting within the study that I didn't put here is while men are using their mobile phone to to find coupons, to find reviews, women are not. Generally women use their mobile phone to call their friends, to ask, hey, what do you think about this dress? What do you think about this product? They're not using the browser or even applications to find things that they want, which I thought was really interesting in this. So as everyone's seen, within mobile, the big battle right now is within location services. My early pick was Foursquare, and it seems to be panning out, even though these other services had much larger initial user base. And as far as how this really matters for affiliates, are these guys right here in the middle. Because what I'm hearing from affiliates, because again, I'm not an affiliate, but I talk to a lot of developers and people that are using mobile for advertising, is these are the best affiliate programs right now that I'm hearing as far as return. OpenTable was so good that last week, I believe they closed their affiliate program or to new affiliates. But right now, SpaFinder and Restaurant.com, Groupon are still accepting, and I'm hearing pretty good returns if that's within your niche for affiliate marketing. And what I really like, it's kind of off tangent as far as affiliate marketing, but I really like GeoToco, because what GeoToco does is, as opposed to setting up, if you are doing a location campaign, instead of doing it individually for Goala, for Foursquare, or any of these other services, it's like a one-stop shop in GeoToco. And also they have a really good analytics program if you are going into doing location services yourself, even though it's a bit outside the affiliate sphere. So if you are looking into monetizing your online or mobile efforts, be it within mobile web or with doing mobile applications, these are the big guys right now. Google Mobile Ads is now the official term for Google's mobile advertising, as they have integrated with AdMob. iAd is obviously Apple's after their purchase. And I feel Millennial Media is right behind them. And there's speculation that Microsoft will be buying Millennial Media. It's purely speculation for their ad platform, especially if Windows Phone 7 coming out at the end of the year. I'm also hearing really good results with JumpTap. And people that using these advertising, iAd has brought the best return, but limited fill space. And a lot of that's getting filled up by Google Mobile Ads. Yes?
Just had a question about pricing. As we are trying to sort of launch more mobile product, and I've been talking to a number of these type of companies, and for the most part, they are CPA and CPC focused, whereas most affiliates are CPA focused. So what do you, is there a market for CPA? I've seen a couple networks here, I think from Movie Opera or something of the sort. What
Yeah, as far as CPA, I think you named one of them that comes top of mind. I just know as far as like click-through rates and as far as payouts, these have been the best ones I'm hearing, especially from developers and people with mobile sites. Has anyone else heard any on the CPA model? Keith?
I've been doing enough CPA to deal with it, but I actually find that a higher overall effective CPM with former AdMob, now Google, and I add a jump tab.
Mhm.
So if you have your own app or CPA or your own app or website, CPA ads are underperforming in comparison with straight up CPM or CPC ads right now. But
And that's inclusive of click-to-call?
that's inclusive of click to call.
Okay, because as far as action, click-to-call has been the best, especially when it's associated with a map, as opposed to just a straight number. That I've been hearing has actually been pretty good, as I kind of illustrate right up there.
It's just not providing this high of effective CPM earning
Right.
to a mobile developer or app developer right now.
That's correct. And also another thing that again, based on what I kind of kept this all general because based on what you guys really care about. But what's been killing affiliates in the mobile space is the fact that, like I believe Commission Junction, what they do as far as your affiliate tagging or any kind of your tracking parameters, when they send it, when they click through and it sends it to the standard site and then it redirects to the mobile site, your tracking gets lost in the mix. Cookies are not all the same with mobile devices, so a lot of affiliates are getting underpaid. Google has actually just introduced their own tracking parameter for AdWords that doesn't have that loss. Even if you go to the desktop, it'll still carry over your affiliate codes to the mobile site. So that's kind of critical when you are looking into the mobile space. Like I said, Google Mobile Ads is ahead of the curve. IAV handles it very well, and all these right here, as far as what I'm hearing, do very well with this. So as far as other mobile app opportunities, which is what I had listed here. Apps, I kind of feel with apps is kind of the new gold rush of this century. Most people making money off it are those providing the services than the people creating the apps themselves. It's generally takes about $20K just to make a decent app, and then never mind maintenance and then propagating it over to the other mobile platforms. So I'm not sure is anyone here really looking into doing apps themselves? What platform are you looking to do it?
So far we have one for iPhone, but we also looking to get it for Android platform as well.
Okay, and you just did straight coding with C, or?
We hired a developer who's doing the development for the application.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is when you hire individual developers, then you need to generally pay that developer another one to then propagate it over to the other operating system. There are platforms that you can do. You can do one and done and click it over to other to Android, iPhone. AppCelerator was one of the first, but I really like is Ansga Mobile. Is another one that you just code it once and then you just basically one click it over to Android, iPhone, BlackBerry, even Symbian, I believe. It's actually started by the guys that originally were part of the Flashlight team, and they left Adobe after seeing how they kind of messed up the whole mobile application that they're now getting themselves in gear for Android, which I've tested it on, and I'm pretty impressed with how Flash works on that. What I think is a really good opportunity is app directories. If you are creating a site, because even the Android, especially the Android market, even in the App Store, the way they're ranking and finding apps is still very difficult. App Store is basically, their ranking algorithm is essentially based on purchase time and speed. Android market has even more complex. It's not just based on purchase, but it's based also inclusive uninstalls and their star ratings. It's not even quite sure what that percentage is. And what's a good thing with Android, you don't need to jailbreak it to basically purchase apps elsewhere. They believe in the free market approach. So creating these other stores, which has already been done with GetJar and SlideMe, are some app directories that you can get apps. And they are looking for affiliates themselves if that's another affiliate direction that you want to go into. Augmented reality is an interesting one. The main player is Layer. And what I see is a really good space for affiliates or advertisers is in that real estate space. Because, I mean, just thinking about it, it's so much easier if you're just in an area and you kind of want to see what's for sale. You just use your phone and basically scan around to find out prices and availability. As I was talking about earlier, click-to-call, pay-to-call has been doing pretty well as far as in mobile, especially when, again, there's a map layout, which Google just introduced for Android devices a couple weeks ago. Location-based ads, mobile payment services is a big thing. The credit cards are getting into this. Carrier billing is there, but people are still looking for an easier way beyond PayPal. So that's something else to look into. And again, I put in mobile casino games because when you think about it, what's the mobile platform to do gambling, poker? Nothing really comes to mind, which I'm surprised is not really a straight-up poker site for mobile. And especially people are playing late at night. Generally, they want just something to do, and if they can make some money or play some games, I think it's a good way to make money. Mobile video is obviously going to be huge, especially with the Android devices with the larger screens. Mobile web directories, I think in SEO, I've seen some sites already trying to build up their PR, build up their base. But I think that's a really interesting thing to get into if you're looking to do that yourself. Become essentially your own DMOZ and charge people to get in over time. NFC, that's been used quite a bit in Asia and Europe. I really like it in the sense that your phone is your credit card just by swiping it. Works. I've seen it used with parking meters and vending machines. So that's something else I think is really interesting. And the main thing I think is the best thing as far as money making is the best mobile online offline affiliate marketing is mobile coupons. I've seen that used very well, especially earlier with Groupon as well as Yowza seems to be another coming on mobile coupon service. So like I said, I kept it kind of open formatted, and I know I kind of bounced around, but I kind of just wanted to see what you guys really wanted to get out of this instead of me just bloviating and talking about mobile services and kind of really hitting the heart of what you want to get out of it and where you really want to go. So with that being said, is any questions? I can go back on anything as far as mobile marketing, Android itself, best phone to get. Yep.
Go back to the cookies. Just explain whether or not the cookies are being lost on some networks. Where does it work best? What needs improvement?
Yeah, it's really based on the mobile browsers. I think Nokia's generally have the problem. Android and iPhone use an advanced WebKit browser, so it's not so much an issue with those phones. It's more or less the older phones being used. I mean, if you're just targeting that high-end market, it's not as much of a concern.
Okay. So it's more of an equipment problem than it is, the affiliates are doing their job, the networks are doing their job. It's just we have to wait for customers to buy better phones.
Essentially, or Commission Junction and these other services kind of update their tracking model and having something that can propagate when there is that user agent redirect from the standard to their mobile version. Or just go direct to mobile. If they went direct to mobile, there wouldn't be that cookie issue as I was talking about earlier, which I believe Commission Junction is supposed to be working on and releasing soon. Anything else? Any Android questions?
App directories in Android. So with that now, you mentioned that there's more. So actually, I don't know this. You mentioned there's more than one app directory that you can use for Android, or is it?
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So with that, what do you see as the opportunity for affiliates? Actually making app directories of their own, and then can they commission on sales of individual apps, or how? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Google still hasn't figured out, and they don't really care because their MO is not applications. They know to get people to use Android, they need applications, but they don't really care about propagating it. So it's really interesting that they really don't have that great of an algorithm or search structure within the Android market. So there are, like I said earlier, GetJar's the next biggest one. SlideMe is another. So if somebody can figure out a better way to find or recommend apps, that'd be a huge moneymaker. That'll probably be the next buyout session after the locations are done, are the best way to find and refer applications. Because right now I know a lot of developers are using PPC to basically get their app further exposed within the App Store, since installs is a big thing. Anything? Yeah.
I have a question. The Android App Store has been criticized because they don't filter the application.
Well, they do actually. They've been filtering quite a bit lately. Yeah.
I was about to ask, do you think they will improve the application database or something?
There has to. Especially, what's interesting is in the news and mobile, you always hear about some app that's could potentially be malicious. But what's interesting is the App Store actually has more of them than in the Android market, and I think that's, in my opinion, that's even more of a scare because you just think you're safe within iPhone. Once it gets past that wall, it's open access. While Android, the user can always see the way Linux is set up with an Android is any kind of call, any kind of reference to any private information is there in your face upon install. So you know directly if you're getting a wallpaper and it goes into your contacts or into your text messages, you know something's up. So you do have that filtering in your face as far as the user goes. Anything else? Sure.
In regards to recurrent payments, how does that work on the Android platform?
Recurring payments?
Yes.
Well,
If you process recurrent payments, is it how the transaction is it smoother in comparison to say iPhone applications? Because I'm not familiar with the recurrent structure. How does that operate on the Android platform?
Yeah, because just recently they introduced carrier billing, so that should be tied into with that since it's on all four networks in the U.S. From what I'm hearing, because it was just introduced, that makes it a lot smoother. Because before, the only alternative was using PayPal, which isn't really scalable. Yep.
But PayPal's new developer tools, do you have any on those yet?
I know they just came out with those, was it 2 weeks ago, and improved greatly for Android. So I know people were excited about that, but they kind of got stymied when the carrier billing came out, because it just seems a lot easier and actually savings in some sense.
What would you say are some of the dangers of carrier billing? Do you think that people can get burned out, or with the ringtone burn that happened a couple years back, do you think that poses a danger here as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for right now. I think it's just a bridge until we get kind of implied billing with each personalized cell phone. But it's a stopgap that is relatively effective until somebody abuses it and somebody sees a $1,000 billing charge, and then you have to go through the mobile provider, which is puts its hands up, like, I don't know. I mean, we're just carrying the billing, so it makes it a little difficult in that sense. Anything else? Sure.
When do you think mobile marketing is going to go mainstream?
I think my feeling is going to these conferences I've been attending and then speaking at them, and it's frustrating to me when I see these they just show these line charts and how it's going to go up and all these people, but then it comes down to is when it really takes off, when it gets not just the mind share but real dollars in the bank. In my sense, that would really happen next year. I've been feeling 2012 would be 2011 would be that time, especially after the holiday season, because that's when a lot of new
What's
smartphones.
going to happen to make that happen? What global event or what U.S. event is going to spur people to start using mobile marketing, the customers?
I think just like with iPhone made smartphones more acceptable to the mass market, as people start getting used to using their cell phone for little things, and that's why I feel mobile coupons is that first introduction. As people feel comfortable using their personalized information to get and use these coupons, then they'll start feeling comfortable with using that cell phone itself as a de facto credit card. But I don't think we can't jump that gap right now. People are, with the net neutrality, with privacy and everything, people are still apprehensive about giving out too much information, Facebook issue earlier. So it really comes down to comfortability. People are just getting used to the iPhone, and now with the Android being introduced, and then these payment systems are kind of cryptic. Once they start purchasing, using their cell phone in some way, then they can start feeling like they can make more intense purchases directly. That's my personal opinion. Yes?
I've been using a few apps on my iPhone for a while, just mobile-wise. I use Yelp all the time, I use OpenTable, and I use Groupon. And all my girlfriends, same apps.
Oh, wow.
So we look for things, places to buy stuff for kids, or like what restaurant to go to. But there's no location-based connection yet. Like if I find a site on Yelp and I walk into that restaurant owner has no idea where I found his restaurant from. Like he doesn't know that I was driven there by Yelp, for example.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, do you know when these sort of location-based services like geofencing and things like that are going to get integrated into some of those apps so that you can do more tracking of online to offline commerce?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying right now. I mean, the best way is with mobile coupons. Like if you are using Groupon, they can tell when you show that coupon on your phone exactly how you got there. Now, if you get there through Yelp without you saying anything or them, pinpricking you, right? So that's why I feel mobile coupons allows that direct tracking to know that online to offline conversion. I know a lot of these location services beyond Foursquare, they want to have a centralized database as opposed to each of them having their own data. And I feel once they have that centralized database, then they can start really expanding the payment options and some real tracking and integration when it goes offline, online, beyond coupons itself.
And is there a reason why those apps are not integrated, like click to pay or book or?
Right now, the battle is over mindshare and getting that user base. I mean, they capture the people essentially for free, and then they determine how to monetize it. So right now, there's still that battle going. That so far within there is, Foursquare seems to have that mindshare lead at least.
Just a comment, I know OpenTable's doing a fairly good job of it. That they provide a lot more information to the restaurant than we're aware of. And it allows them, like last
Like to
night.
track behind the scenes?
Oh, yeah, like last night, the guy brought us wine because he knows my wife is a heavy OpenTable user. And this is the first time we were in the restaurant, so we got some free wine and everything. So
Yeah, I'm hearing really good things about OpenTable.
Yeah,
Seems to be doing
they are.
very well.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
So basically, when you're launching like a new merchant site or new store online, you have to hire like like a mobile developer or a mobile applications expert to also build like the mobile version of your site that's optimized for it. Because what I'm hearing is that SEO that you build for your own, website doesn't necessarily translate directly to the mobile world. Is that true?
I mean, it's a lot cheaper, and you don't necessarily need a mobile person just to code it correctly for mobile devices, your site itself. There is that cost and investment when you have to start creating apps, because that's when you really need something that's obviously more mobile-centric. But coders more and more are understanding how, especially applying the CSS, if you already have your site set up correctly for desktop, how to then render even shopping carts and such like that for mobile devices.
Style sheet then, you just need like some mobile code you were talking about, so that if it's on an
In a simplistic answer is yes. I mean, there's caveats, but that's where you can do principally modify what you already have to make it usable and correct for mobile devices.
So if I've done a good job at building SEO for some website and a woman does a search on like an Android phone, she's going to find my site either way through her browser on the Android, and it's going to land on my mobilized version of my site?
If you're saying is you rank a certain way on a standard desktop, you'll rank the same in mobile.
Yeah, is it the same?
There is differences right now, but they are pretty similar. But they're not. It's not going to be that way in 6 months.
How's it going to change that?
Well, what we're already seeing is, and we're already seeing on the desktop, is right now Google's already experimenting on the desktop standard searches without even any organic listings on a standard search, like totally integrating the local search, and that's obviously critical for mobile phones. Even doing a mobile search right now, that local results gets propped up, and generally you only see that one organic listing, and then it's all local. So that's another thing I was amiss in saying in the SEO portion, is making sure that you are located in all the location services. And the best way is getlisted.org. Make sure that you're getting into your Google places, into Yahoo, Best of the Web, and Yelp.
If you were to give 5 to 10 essential tips for the companies that already have an established web presence and who's looking to grow more into mobile development, especially in Android, what would be your essential tips for that?
As far as finding people or finding a way to do it, or what they should concentrate on?
Expanding the market to the mobile application market and get more traffic to the business.
Mm-hmm.
Any unique practical advice?
Yeah, I mean, my knee-jerk reaction to that is right now the short-term bet, if you are going into applications, is with the iPhone, iPad. The app market is the best short-term, but you're seeing developers already acknowledging kind of the PC days of long-term approach being Android. The market share, mind share is going there heavily worldwide, not just in the US. And just like with the PC wars, it's annoying to then create one thing for the iPhone, then that expense to create it for Android, and with BlackBerry, for each of its devices, or Symbian if you're going worldwide. So that's where again, it's kind of determined if you have short-term strategy, that's the way to go with the App Store. But it's kind of, the opinion is the apps are kind of going to peak in 2011 and kind of decline. And the main reason that is with HTML5. A lot of these programs you will be able to do over the browser. And then it's ubiquitous to all platforms. You don't have to create it for each app store or mobile device.
So basically making sure that your website is HTML is going to be coded in HTML5?
Yes, especially, I mean, as you have video integrations, you can start doing games and moving away from Flash. It's not a panacea for Flash, but a lot of rendering that you can do in Flash can be done in HTML5.
What about the older browsers? Can they read HTML5 without any problems?
Yes, and what's interesting is the Windows Mobile Phone 7 at this time does not support HTML5, which I think is really odd.
And you can get over.
Well, actually, it's fully tied to Bing, so I don't even know. I think they kind of force you to their browser. I don't even know if you could use Opera. I mean, it's all speculative now, I mean, until it actually comes out. But I just know in the here and now, it's not HTML5 compatible. It's WebKit browser.
Are there any concerns here in the US about Google knowing everything of you, where you are, your favorite restaurants or something like that, to connect all these data to get exact profiles of the users?
Yeah, and I think, like with Facebook and people, it seems to be more the geekosphere, like the general people kind of, and this is just an opinion, don't seem to really care so much as long as they get something out of it. I am concerned when Eric Schmidt said recently that people want Google just to tell them what they want, because that kind of seems to me like kind of the Apple approach, and not, instead of dictating, kind of like giving them options, which was the great thing with Google search. So I'm very concerned when it goes in that direction, because right now, as Google introduced voice actions, there is no searching. If you say I'm looking for a pizza shop or whatever, it just tells you that one option and directs you to there. So it becomes a fact just of, as people using Google search, if they're getting those right results, that Google will be telling them. And if Google just dictates and not providing that service, that's when people will start leaving.
Well, we in Germany have much concerns with Facebook. Several telephone entries of people who are not on Facebook come to the account of those persons.
Yeah.
And, it's a big discussion at the moment.
And even with the mapping service, isn't that an issue in Germany as well?
Yeah,
The wireless
not
mapping.
now, but it will come.
Yeah, just like in South Korea. Anything else? Actually, show of hands, who here has an Android device or Droid? Wow, that's awesome. When it was just as a kind of a reference, I'm mostly in internet marketing and SEO, and I spoke about Android about 2 years ago. And what's interesting is nobody had I was the only one that had an Android phone, and this other guy that went to Google I/O, and we got the Ion. And what was interesting is people are all scoffing at this as like it's equivalent to if I said right now that Google Buzz will take over Twitter in 2 years. I mean, it's just as laughable back then. So I think it's kind of amazing in just 2 years where how Android's grown from nothing.
Do you think that Android's still going to be popular among both men and women once the iPhone goes beyond AT&T's exclusivity? Like once all of the carriers are promoting iPhones, do you still think it'll sell well against Android? Or like
I personally do, because the fact that the iPhone is a great device. And what's interesting is I've been in the Android community from the early stages. And you make fun of the iPhone and we attack the iPhone in the sense of we appreciate how great it is and how it introduced smartphones to the audience, or to the masses. But the mindshare was just so high for it. That's why AntennaGate was so important, because at least it brought the phone into some perspective, and that's not a magical device. It's a great device, and I would still say it's probably the best smartphone. But there are choices. And to answer your question is, what I feel the strength of Android is, there's not just that one phone they can get in any color as long as it's black, at least through the end of this year. But you could have, if you want something that's gigantic as far as the screen, or if you want a little mini screen, like this, Sony has a really nice X10 Mini, which I think will do well with young teens. In Europe, I know it was introduced in France and Germany. And it's not a power phone, but it's, goes to more of a specific niche as far as teenagers that want to text and type. And that's why I like with Android's approach. It's not just the high end, which iPhone is, because that's where the profit is best for Apple. But expanding it, and that's Google's purpose, is expand it not just the high market, but to the low end as well, and propagating it throughout the world. And that's what's important to me as an internet marketer, because that's market share. People that that Apple fanboys, they just say, well, we're making, it's making profit, it's the best profitable device. But to me as a user, I'm not a shareholder. I don't care about that. I care about more the market share aspect. So I'm not tied to any one Android device, but just the platform itself. So that's why I can easily say the iPhone is the best device in and of itself, and 10 issues aside.
Because I've been using my iPhone for several years now, and I'm actually thinking of getting an Android, but like I don't even know the first thing about which device to get. Like I don't feel like Android has done a good job at marketing to women yet. All the ads are very male-centric.
Yeah, and that's why I never cared for the Droid itself. I think the Droid devices are the worst of the bunch for Android.
I don't even know what to buy, although I'm like considering.
I can just say this is coming, in my feeling, is coming on way too early for Android, because I don't think it's ready for mass appeal even now. Right. The next iteration, Android 3.0, the gingerbread update, that I feel will be much better for a mass audience, and the devices I think would hit upon what you want. Because the main thing of that is addressing its user experience, because right now it's kind of ugly. I mean, the best feature of the iPhone is the user experience. Right. And that's what's really being addressed in this update, because they have the lead of UI from WebOS, from Palm. He's the one that made it a great device, and that people within the mobile field will still say that WebOS has a better user experience than the iPhone. It just had bad devices and bad management.
I don't know, I got this Droid X 2 days ago. It's intuitive. It knows where I am. It knows what I'm doing. If I'm on an app, playing a game, I get ads. Google Ads already.
Yep.
It's probably one of the most incredible phones I've ever owned.
I love the Galaxy. That's the best iPhone transition device to an Android. So if you use an iPhone, I would say the Samsung Galaxy. It's on all 4 networks in the US. It's the only device that was able to do that. And the best one's on Sprint at the end of the month, the Epic 4G.
And you can also get it with a keyboard.
Yeah, that's the Epic 4G. That's the Saturn S Pro. It comes with the keyboard. And has the front-facing camera and 4G access and everything.
Get an extra battery, though.
You need the app killer.
Well, actually, when you use App Killer, make sure you don't. It's not like a Windows system, and with Linux, you don't need to kill apps just automatically from starting up. They can all reside in the background and not suck up resources or battery. Just use the App Killer to, like, say if something's stuck, to kill it, but don't ever use the Task Killer to auto kill any applications running, because that's what will slow down your device, because it'll always have to restart. It's just the way Linux works. It's not like Windows where you have to close all your browsers to save resources and such.
I've been doing it for about 2 weeks. I haven't had a problem, but I've noticed that since it's the advanced task killer.
Yep.
My battery is double in life.
Really?
Yeah.
Automatic killing or manual?
Automatically once an hour.
Yeah, because I'm hearing the exact opposite. Because I was very concerned why they put that on the Droid devices, that Verizon's been propagating that.
For the first week, my battery was dying every 3 hours.
Mm. It wasn't anything other settings, GPS, brightness.
No.
I mean, the main things that kill it are GPS.
Well, I was like a little kid. I was adding apps every hour.
Yeah.
So they were.
And you still are, right?
No, I've slowed down, but I also downloaded the uninstaller app too, to get rid of some of the crappy ones that I put on there the first time.
Yeah, and they put a lot of their crapware. Verizon puts a lot of their stuff on it too, unfortunately. But you can have one-click root if you want to do that, if you want to kill it.
What do you think about security on mobile?
It has a lot to be desired. And what I thought was interesting is in the news, when you hear about all these malicious apps, right after they declare it, that same service is promoting their antivirus app. So it's kind of a way to pinprick you to sell their services each time. I look out in the latest one. But like I was saying earlier, at least at Android, when you install, you see exactly any kind of access it has. With iPhone, all your security is beholden on Apple. You just assume it's been filtered, which they've shown a lot of these studies as far as numbers of apps. There are more on the App Store that are malicious than in Android. So But I think there needs to be some kind of security to it, but still allowing that free market, which you can get with a jailbroken iPhone, and going elsewhere. I like that option. If the Android market doesn't take care of it well enough, you can go somewhere else and get it if you feel it's a better service. I like having that option. Just like Android provides you the option to kill your battery or do whatever you want, it's that freedom of choice and just kind of finding that equilibrium that's best for you.
Do you know which carriers are doing the integrated carrier billing? So like say a merchant can basically charge the customer for that product they just bought on their Android phone direct to their cell phone bill?
I believe the 4 majors are involved, or at the very least T-Mobile, but I'm pretty sure all 4 are in, especially because Android devices are on full networks.
So that it's up to the merchant then to go negotiate that with each carrier separately? Or
With the Android market, I believe it's a one and done with the market, with the app development itself. But I'm not 100%. I mean, that seems to make most sense. It doesn't make sense to keep going each 4, especially because now Android phones are on, beyond the big 4, they're also on the pay call or whatever you call it, the monthly calling plans.
and when does that happen?
As far as what?
Integrated carrier billing?
I believe it's already effective. They just announced it 2 weeks ago, so I'm not sure when it takes in effect. Anything else? So is everyone here going to get an Android phone now after this? All right, there you go.
Can I get a demo?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to get an Android phone, does anyone know?
Yes, I'll show you.
Just go to a Google conference. You can go to Google conferences, I have like 10 phones, and you talk about Android, you get all these free phones. Apple doesn't give you anything. You go to the conference, they don't give you, oh, they give you bumpers, but as far as actual phones, Android's the way to go. All right, thanks everyone.